Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, the last Tuesday of July, the 29th. It is Inside the Game. We're live right now here in our PMG studios in Shelby Township. Nathan Wangler is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we're excited to have you here for episode number 125. That's 125 here on this Tuesday morning. And Nathan, you were not here yesterday, so we didn't do a show. I think you've you had. Yes, Nathan is still 17. He just had his wisdom teeth taken out.
Post 17, thank God. No, and it's actually a good thing because they grew out the right way. So it's odd because when people are like, "Well, you were with it yesterday," like I could actually still do my normal day-to-day things for the most part after I got that done. I mean, not a whole lot of talking, obviously, because you have a couple of holes in your mouth, so it ain't gonna work necessarily the same way. So gauze and all those other things, but it was growing out the right way, and it was far enough out to where they didn't really have to do a whole lot of invasive, like dig into the gum or anything. They could literally just like numb it, wiggle it a little bit, jar it free, and then pull it out. So it didn't require the whole like anesthetic and going under and all that other stuff. So like I'm good to go today, but in another world, it probably would have taken a couple days to bounce back from it. But yes, I am missing 2 teeth officially today. They were curious if I wanted to make it 4. I was like, no, I'm good. So morning, Peter, morning, gents. Sad day for Chicago baseball. Yeah, R.I.P. Rhino. Yeah, I agree. So, But yeah, feeling good enough. To make the show work here today. So that's all that matters here today. And then obviously the baseball game tonight, and then back at it tomorrow. So it's a different world when you're talking for a living, and you got to tell them, you're like, hey, I blab for a living. So am I going to be able to blab? And they're like, yes, you will be. So good. I think we're all set.
Yesterday, so really since last week, we've been kind of since our massive amount of games has kind of started to dwindle. This week we've got just one game, and so to put that in perspective, but we've been redeveloping our space, and the reason why is, over the last 3 months we've realized, what works, what doesn't work, and in any situation you want to develop your space in a way that's functional, not only for when you're busy, but also when you're not busy. And so we've been spending a lot of time doing that. We redeveloped our entire studio environment. This is where I'm sitting right now. And so obviously you're used to seeing me sitting at my desk with all my scarves and all that great stuff. And we're like, hey, we want to be able to utilize this space, for not only for ourselves, but for other hosts that want to maybe host their own shows in our space. For our network, and as well as for other businesses here locally. And so we've done that, and we have this beautiful window up here that we just don't utilize. And so that's, why I'm sitting in this space. And moving forward, that's where I'll be sitting here for most of our shows, unless I'm not here in studio, to kind of put things in perspective. But, obviously we missed the show here yesterday, and a lot happened this weekend. In the sports world. Well, we're going to talk about Lionel Messi here for much of the show, and I want to dive into that because I have a gripe here that I want to get to. And traditionally, when I get really angry, we do pretty well in the TikTok land. So we are going to evaluate that whole process today. But let's talk about this weekend. It started with the Elite Eight on Friday, USL League Two. As well as the League for Clubs, right? So League for Clubs got underway this weekend as far as their national championship. And so on Friday, Flint Bucks from here, Michigan, traveled to Seattle, Washington, taking on Minneapolis City. and they won that game 2-1, and they fell short again, but this time to the same team they fell short to in 23 in the same game.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, right? Because I was on that call 2 years ago in Flint, right? So 2 years ago, the pod here for the Elite Eight, it was Des Moines Menace, Flint City Bucks, Ventura County Fusion, and Ballard FC. They were only in their second year of existence at that point, right? Second year. And actually, I think it was actually their first year. Now that I think about it. So, yeah, I think it was their first year. But anyways, they traveled here to Flint. And Ventura played Ballard. Ballard wins. Des Moines plays Flint. Flint wins. And then Flint and Ballard see each other in the semifinal. Ballard wins that. They travel home the 2,230 miles back to Seattle. And then they go on to win a national championship over Lions Bridge 2-1. Okay. This year, Flint travels to Ballard. Ventura County plays Ballard. Right? Flint plays Minneapolis City. So who had beaten Sueño last week? Sueño had beaten Des Moines. So had Des Moines actually won that pod, it would have been an exact replica of that exact same thing, just 2,000 miles away, differently. Right? I mean, just thinking about that, you're in perspective. In 2023, Ballard beat Flint 1-0. They scored a goal in the 10th minute. It was nothing after that, no other goals. Okay. This time around, Flint scores, I want to say it was in like the 26th minute. Again, I don't have it right in front of me, but they scored in the first half, took a lead. And then it might have been the second half. Actually, it was the second half. I take that back. They scored in the second half. And then Ballard scores an equalizer, and then roughly about 7 minutes later, they scored the eventual game winner, 2-1, 1 goal difference. But in 2023, in stoppage time, and I say like in stoppage time, Jason Shukaluk was inside the 18. He was right at the penalty spot. The ball's kind of pinging around like a pinball off a bunch of gym players. Just lines went up, and it just misses the near post, his near post, by inches, like goes right along the side netting. I mean, the goalie had no chance of saving it. It just didn't hit, right? That was like the 94th minute, 4th minute stoppage time. Yeah, on Sunday, you had Cole Worthmuller, who was just outside, receives his ball, comes in, it's headed, it's bouncing around, does a bicycle kick, and this thing just misses the near post again by mere inches. I mean, a beauty of an attempt. And of course, they ended up losing. It's like I'm watching this and going, I'm like literally watching like the exact replica of this game in like 2 years ago. The only difference is this is a bicycle kick attempt. The ball's bouncing around. Like, I mean, it was eerie to be a part of that game and to call it as well. And so it was just a very surreal type moment. But yeah, Flint lost. Ballard goes on. They play now Vermont Green here in the national championship game on Saturday in Vermont. And it's going to be an unbelievable experience for anyone who's in that environment, because that crowd has been off the charts. And again, if you don't know anything about Vermont, I think the only thing to do in Vermont on Saturdays right now is to go watch soccer at this stadium or sleep. I don't know what else you do in Vermont. I don't know what else you do in Vermont. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders, right? Guy's from Vermont. I mean, that guy, I don't think he's done anything, outside of going to a soccer game in Washington, D.C. in his entire life. So, there's what else do you do in Vermont? I mean, I still don't know. I would love anyone to chime in and tell me, what does one do in the state of Vermont? What do you do? What are they known for? At this point, I think it's going and watching Vermont Green. Right?
We have Google, right? I mean,
maybe we should Google that. I have not Googled it. But anyways,
Vermont.
They're hosting Vermont, by the way, which is where this game is being played at, Vermont University. They're the same university in which the men's national championship soccer won, first time ever, right? And so the bulk of their roster is made up of players who are from that team. And so very interesting to see how this game's going to shape up. they said watch a syrup made. So there you go. So yeah, they're probably known for maple syrup.
A wealth of natural beauty and unique attractions, including rural landscapes, mountain views, lakes, ponds, trails, as well as historic downtowns, and a strong focus on farm-to-table culinary delights and craft beverages. There
All
you
right,
go.
so obviously what we're
Farmland,
saying is
woods,
you know, so maybe some cow
syrup. You gotta go cow tipping, go to a lake, go to a stream. I don't know, something like that.
Like Tommy Boy, right? You know, sniffing paint chips your whole life. Well, why? No, but
I
yeah,
will say the different pages have been picking up on how many people have been going out to those Vermont games. Though it's been all over social, man, and people have been posting it up and saying, "Hey, look at this crowd," because it really has. It's been impressive to see the turnout there. So. Good shout out to all those people, but clearly they got them excited out there, especially with the national championship. But yeah, it's been packed to the gills.
Obviously, League for Clubs happened this weekend. Met Oval won the first ever League for Clubs national championship. They did so in penalties, by the way. So they did that in penalties, and they are the first time recipient of the national champion in that league, and so. Kudos to them for that, and go Met Oval. Chicago Nation making their way back to, I believe this is their third national finals weekend in their history. They've been there again twice before. Last time was in 2023 summer, where I call, and this is where it's interesting, right? Because I'm thinking about this. This is where everything's really eerie for me. So in 2023. Flint hosted this pod for the USL, and we knew if they won that game over Ballard, they would be hosting the national championship game at Atwood Stadium the next weekend on that Saturday. And again, don't remember the dates. It might have been the second, whatever it might have been. Actually, it was the 5th. And we had already been contracted by the UPSL to cover the national finals of the UPSL in Leesburg, Virginia. I already knew that I was traveling like Thursday morning, leading up to the next Thursday to Leesburg, driving down there and doing these games. I already knew that. And so with Flint now possibly hosting the national championship, I'm going, what do I do? Because I have to come back. I'm going to have to call this game. We have to bring our crew back. We have to do everything. And so we were looking at planes and flights into Bishop Airport from Washington, D.C., because that would have been like the closest airport, was whatever airport it would have been, and looking at flights. And I would be like flying in on Saturday morning and then taking off directly on Saturday night right after the game. So looking at these flights. And part of me, please don't hate me, River Rats and Flint, was like, if they just lose, it makes it so much easier for me not to worry about this. Right, it makes it so much easier, right? Mm-hmm. I wasn't wishing for them to lose. I'm just going, that would just make my life tremendously better. Obviously they did lose, so my life was better. But I did, it
more
just
convenient.
It's like,
I think it's probably the better way of putting that.
Yeah, maybe. Anyways, but I and again, I'm sitting there going, this is nuts. And then in Leesburg, Virginia, who's playing in that tournament, right? Chicago Nation. Yeah. And what am I doing this weekend? I'm calling the Flint City Bucks versus Ballard again on Sunday, but I'd obviously called them another one on Friday. And in between there is a UPSL team, Chicago Nation taking on New York Bravehearts in Cleveland. And so I'm literally like, it's like in my brain. Now we're not going and doing the national finals here for the USL. So that's not, I'm sorry, UPSL. We're not doing that. But like, it's just like, it's like crazy. I'm like, this is nuts. I'm like, I'm experiencing almost like the same stuff, just in a different way. And because I think the UPSL is actually not this weekend, it's next weekend. So the following weekend, like the 7th, and the 9th, right? Because I think, because it's the 8th, right? Because the 1st is on Friday, so it would be like, I think it's Friday, so it would be Friday the 8th, and then the final would be on Saturday the 10th. I believe that's how that's going to be. But it just, again, it's extremely kind of like full circle, like holy crap, like that's it's pretty cool. But with that being said, I want to talk about this Messi thing because it's a mess. It's a mess, and we talked about it. No
Good
pun
pun there.
intended. I know it's a mess. It's like, my kids accuse me of saying that my daughter Zoe is are my favorite. Right? They accuse me of this. Now, what they don't know is that when Brianna, our oldest, and Nathan, obviously our middle child, my son, with each of them, we had our moments, right, where we got to enjoy them kind of on an individual level. Well, Zoe is the youngest, and so all they know and remember of both me and Bianca is how we've given her so much attention compared to them because she is the youngest, right? I mean, she's also the one that's was in our bed and coming in, and while these kids are all in their own room, so naturally you're going to see this and go, well, yeah, she's your favorite. Now, I mean, she definitely is my favorite, but without that being said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but we know that they all have this interpretation, this impression that she's my favorite. And I think the entire world believes the MLS's favorite is Lionel Messi. Right?
Oh, it is.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all the things that they've given to him, like Messi is the favorite. Right?
Yeah.
The favorite.
They've bent over backwards for him. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then it goes to the question, well, why are you punishing your favorite then? What is the purpose of this? And it's because all the other children, right? All of the other children, right? Fans and other players are like, this is screwed up. You need, this, you can't let that happen. Right? We can't do this. And so they forced their hand. And now you're mad that he got suspended. He's mad. You can't do that to me. I'm your favorite. You're not going to do that. I think that's the best way to put this. I mean, because that's really what this is. You think that Dan Garber was going to actually punish him? Hell no, he wasn't going to punish him. No. The only reason he punished him is because all the pressure coming from everybody else.
Yeah.
But again, I don't understand that. I don't understand why there's a need to punish him. I mean, he's your golden child. Right now he is. We talked about it last week. I don't understand why the league felt it was necessary to suspend him. And again, I understand from the optics standpoint for the rest of the league so that they don't think that this is, well, because if he can do it, I can do it. And if you're talking about consistency, then yes, but I struggle with this whole mindset that we should be punishing Messi.
From a fan standpoint, I kind of understand it. All right, if people are going to show up to watch the MLS All-Star Game, and we've said this before, there is no one really on that list outside of Messi and maybe the guy directly underneath him that is really going to make any difference in the world in terms of we have to go out and watch the superstar play. Maybe Liga MX has a few guys that are worth watching, but the MLS themselves is not a star-driven league. It's not. The star in the league is Messi. And so if there's anybody in all of this that I sympathize with, it's the fans, right? And that's probably why the MLS has this measure in place to punish players who opt out of the All-Star game without giving a certain amount of time on the front end, because you have these fans who have already purchased their tickets who are going to show up regardless. They're coming out to watch. And so they show up and they I forget who it was. Maybe it was Galazzo. I don't know who was there, but someone did like a little walk around asking people how they feel about Messi not being at the All-Star game. Well, they were already there. They already had their tickets. They were already in the building. They were already in that space. And every single one of them are like, well, yeah, I'm excited to be here, but Messi's not here, so I'm disappointed. I wanted to do this, but Messi's not here, so therefore I'm not really as excited as I could have been. Like I feel the same exact way about, players taking load management days and you don't know about it until literally the moment that the ball's tipped off that, oh, okay, they're in street clothes sitting on the bench. But on the other side of this, right, because it's not a regular season game. It wasn't a game that like Inter Miami was in that they needed to get to the playoffs or it's important for seeding or anything else like that, right? It's an all-star game. And we've seen this done in the NFL. We see guys opt out of the Pro Bowl all the time. We see guys in the MLB opt out of the All-Star game all the time. We see it sometimes in the NHL. We see guys take a break. They don't want to play. The only difference was this year when you did the whole world hockey thing. That's a little bit more tempting to be a part of. And I think guys obviously take more pride in that. So less are going to opt out of it. But when you look at soccer, the reason why it's different. And so when I look at it on its face value, right? Messi's 38 years old. Messi's been playing the whole year. He's been playing for the international team. The amount of wear and tear and miles on the body at 38 to be playing soccer at that level still. I'm a basketball fan, but like even I realize, JT, it's a different ball game when you talk about the sport of soccer because of the endurance aspect and how far you have to run every single game. Yeah, I mean, maybe not as much high impact in certain situations as a sport like basketball can be, especially on your joints, but there is a lot of wear and tear on the body. It's an all-star game. It's a showcase. That's all it is, right? And so from his perspective, being a 38-year-old man, if I have an opportunity to take one game off, that would probably be it. And also in his mind, and I said this, to people in conversations, obviously not on this show, he doesn't owe anybody anything. That's the other side of this. He doesn't owe the MLS. He doesn't the MLS needs Messi. Messi doesn't need the MLS. Like that is the ultimate lesson in all of this. The MLS needs Messi. Messi does not need Major League Soccer. Do I think it was kind of a dick move to the fans by not to show up and not to be a part of it? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. But I think he has all the right in the world to make that decision. The only tough thing is, again, the fans, because when you have the MLS, they have bent over backwards, sideways, every way you can imagine to cater to Messi. Not even necessarily Inter Miami. I don't really think they necessarily care about Inter Miami as much as they do just having the star power in someone's name like that in their league. And so when he doesn't show up to the All-Star game, you would venture to guess if all those people in that building knew that Messi was not going to be there, how many of them would have gone? And this all circles back to your point that you made way earlier when we were talking about Messi's impact on the MLS, that it's not really affecting the MLS. It's just increasing Messi's popularity, which is cool. That's great. But at the end of the day, the MLS put this in effect because they know they're not a star-driven league. They know they need stars to show up to these things to even have a chance. And to their credit, like they only really have the one true star. And yeah, there are other great young players that might get a contract to go play here or there, but for the most part, Messi's the box office guy. You're coming out to watch him play. You're coming out to watch him do his thing. And so, to their side, I understand why. But in all the other major leagues, you don't see it. But then again, they don't need any help when it comes to stars. Even if one or two says, I'm not showing up, they got the rest of them. So that's this kind of middle area. And I don't know how much a one-game suspension. Did they even go through with the suspension? That I'm not even quite sure.
Yeah, they did. But again, but here's the thing.
So, doesn't make much of a difference in the world. In my personal opinion, it doesn't.
But here lies the problem. And all sports, by the way, are guilty of this. All major professional sports are guilty of this. Somehow making all-star games mean something. Okay, and so that herein lies the problem. Okay. The NFL went from actually having tackle football to now a flag football game ran by former NFL quarterbacks who are no longer relevant in football. Okay, I love Peyton Manning. I love Eli Manning. I think great, right? But let's be honest, they've retired. They're on. Right. And so what do? Right? You're trying to create relevancy when there's nothing to be relevant at all. Right. And so the All-Star game means nothing. It means nothing. And the only reason you do it is because you want to squeeze as much money out of it as you possibly can. It has nothing to do with the game of soccer at all, and everything to do with trying to bring as many people together and spend as much money as possible in a short amount of time when all these players are deserving of a break. And
Yeah.
so,
Right.
again, you're punishing players for this dumb idea of having all-star games. Which, again, if you ask players in Europe, they're like, "What's an all-star game?" I'm like, "What is dumb? Like, what is?" They're like, "What is this crap?" Like, they don't like,
Right.
all-star game. What?
Yeah.
This is dumb. Like, no, I want to go on again. Up until a couple years ago, Messi had never seen an all-star game in his entire life, other than watching it on FS2, on the NPR version of over in Europe. It's like, what I mean? They have. What is this thing? I have no idea what this thing even is. Skills competition? Who cares about this stuff? Like, I get it. I mean, you want to do it, but you don't need to do it. And more importantly, you're punishing your best player because your best player who's been playing their best in this league needs a break. And that's my problem. It's the same problem I have with the NFL, with this flag football, whatever you call it. I told you before, you know what the NFL should do is to take, because it's being played at the end of the season now, and it's what's always been, is make that a third place game. I've already said this. Take that game, instead of making a flag football, take the two teams who lost in the AFC and NFC championship, have them play each other, third place game, consolation game. I'm telling you right now, that would blow this whole thing up and everybody would be super excited about it, okay? It would, and then again, you can have all the other festivities around it. Little flag football, great. But the real game takes place on Sunday night, under the lights, hard hitting, pro football, boom. It'd be awesome, okay? This All-Star game, just move it. Move it. If you want to still do it, just move it. Move it. Move it to the end of the season. Well, John, it's ending and you can't do it in December. Yes, you can. Just find a warm place and have it in December. Have it in December. Okay, great. Have it in December. And then the players more likely will, if they still want to be a part of soccer in December, they'll join. And then what are you going to do? Suspend them then? No, it takes a suspension off the table.
Right.
It's just the dumbest thing ever.
Right.
We are, again, every sport has it. Every sport has it. NBA has it. What is NBA? It's just turned into a concert is all it is. It's literally like a big concert, right? There's 199 points that are scored in the game, 200 points, the hell it is.
Right.
And you've got a bunch of, up in the bleachers, you've got like concert happening on during the whole time. It's like, I'm sorry, but they're all just laughable at this point. They should just shut all-star games down. And we should be done with them because they're stupid. They make no sense. The best thing that came out of any all-star environment was this World Hockey Tournament that happened for hockey this past winter. Aside from that, none of them are relevant. They're all a waste of time, and they are all designed to just bring in money for the leagues, which, again, I could argue that they don't. I don't know how much money you bring in. If you're going to sit here and tell me, and again, baseball, there's a host city. Right? Football, I don't think it's the I think it's down in Miami now, right? I think it's down.
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in the same town as the Super Bowl. So it's like down in Miami or whatever, warm place. Or Tampa or whatever the heck they have it. Hockey, again, that's a selected place, right? You got to bid for it. Basketball, the same thing. You got to bid for it. So I understand the bidding. They probably got to pay money. Yeah, here's $10 million from the, we're going to bring back all of our money, but here's $10 million to the league. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. I hate it. I hate what it stands for.
Yep.
And it's a mess. It's a straight up mess, and it's a messy mess.
Yeah, it's an American thing. All-Star games. It's not the same everywhere else, and that's, the MLS in a lot of ways, the way that they model themselves, are trying to model themselves after a lot of the other American professional leagues, and so part of that is having an all-star game. And again, you can argue, make it worth something. I like the dynamic of our best facing off against Mexico's best. Like, that's fun. Like, I'd like to be there. I'd like to see that and everything. But again, for a 38-year-old aging all-star who's been playing all year round, like, I heard Landon Donovan actually talk about this recently and talked about how, David Beckham went through hell and back to make it to the All-Star game, to play in the All-Star game when he was in it. But yeah, it's different world, different situations, different scenarios when Beckham was playing. I don't think you can really compare the two. I just think Messi if he's deserving of a break, he's deserving of a break. And again, does the All-Star game actually mean anything at the end of the day? That's the biggest question in my mind. What's up, Ryan? That's the biggest question in my mind. Does that game actually mean anything to the players themselves? No. It's an opportunity. It's the MLS. That's who this game means something for. It's the league. It's the owners. It's the, it's the opportunity to kind of showcase, hey, here's what we have. Here's our product. Here's our best. Come spend all your money. Come, buy food and buy drinks and, come to this town and fill out the stands and everything. So that's why they were so frustrated about it. And honestly, that's probably why that rule was put into effect, the whole 1-game suspension thing if you opt out. But it's also, this is the problem that we're having with the MLS feeling, like there's just such a level of control over all of this that is kind of troublesome. But if you were to ask anybody, again, Messi does not owe the MLS anything. He doesn't. Actually, he came here. Like he came here. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And so the only people, again, that I feel bad for are the fans, because that was an opportunity for them to go see him play. Not in a serious situation. It's just an all-star game. But, if the MLS really wants those players to stick around, especially someone like Messi, you're right. You have to make it worth something. You have to make it mean something, because when it doesn't mean anything, when it's just a fun game or an exhibition, like, you're not going to convince a lot of players to want to stick around. And again, the only issue is when it comes to Major League Soccer, you don't have stars. You don't have a deep list of stars that are playing in that game. You don't. And so when you have the one that opts out, again, it's a lot different than in baseball. If you have a couple of different stars who opt out, that's fine. Hey, we still have Paul Skeens. We still have Tarek Skubal. We still have this list of all-stars, some of the best in the world that will be playing in this game. In the NFL, it's no different, albeit I think the Pro Bowl's completely lost its steam anyways. I don't really think anybody watches it anymore. But again, and then I got to give credit to hockey where it's due, because they've actually tried. Like, they actually tried to come up with something new. I feel like if the NBA went to more of a USA versus the world format, I think people would actually tune in to watch that thing. But that actually relies on Adam Silver making some different choices and doing some different things, because the whole pickup basketball thing was great for the first couple of years. After that, it lost its steam. So this is a league-centered decision, and I think that's what bothers people the most about it. Because again, Messi doesn't owe you anything. As a matter of fact, he was at a Coldplay concert, and I don't know if you saw that. He was on the screen. So Messi got notice, and he didn't run away because he was with his actual wife. He was with his actual married wife at the Coldplay concert. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You do it the right way.
Okay. I've got a we talk about this all the time, and I understand that we are an American audience, American viewers, and we're used to all these things. But everything about what this country is trying to do is replicating what's being done across the world. Okay, it's in the style of play. It's how our academies are being built. Everything is about replication. They're even talking about moving the seasons to be more aligned with what's going across the pond. Okay, right? That's a whole thing. Stop the All-Star game. It doesn't make any sense. It's not worth it. It's stupid. It's dumb. I can give you a lot of different ways to describe what this thing is and what it is not, and none of it comes off in any way intelligently to move the game forward here in the United States. Okay? So let's just shut it down. All right? That way, we don't have to force players to do things that they don't want to do, all for the sake of so that the league can make more money. Mm-hmm. And if you want the league to make more money, invest more in players, invest more in training, invest more in developing, invest more in the teams, invest more in the game, and not in things that are entertainment value. Okay? That's how you move the ball forward. This All-Star game doesn't do it. And again, what are we talking about right now? We're not talking about how great Messi played 2 weeks ago. We're not talking about how great Messi is. We're talking about how Messi got suspended because Messi, as great as he is, needed a break.
Mm-hmm.
In which, in this country, right now, it is totally acceptable to take breaks. More so than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. I mean, again, this is not being disingenuous to anyone out there that's struggling, but you can take a mental health break now. Those are real things that are actually happening, right? Because you get worn down. There are things that are being, again, I'm not saying that they're well received across the entire professional landscape, but I think that it's becoming more and more prevalent where that's an acceptable practice in today's world. You have students who leave school and say they need a break.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they're overworked. What are we telling our country? Go work your ass off, work hard, be really great at what you do. And by the way, because of this scrimmage we created that's designed to entertain, we're going to suspend the player because he needed to take a break to go watch Coldplay. I mean, it's like, the hell out of here. What in the hell are we doing? And this is the part that, again, it drives me nuts. I mean, you gave this guy the key. He gave him the keys to the kingdom. That's what you gave him. You gave him the keys to the kingdom. You've given him TV right deals and access to that. I mean, he's got ownership stake in future 17 teams. I mean, this guy has everything everything. He has done everything you've asked of him. I mean, he single-handedly has increased viewership and not on Apple TV, but in attendance at games to every stadium he goes to. And again, when he goes away, that will all drop because, again, it's all a facade. We've talked about that before. Why would you do this?
Oh.
And the problem isn't necessarily in the suspension. The problem is in the fact that we think that this game is actually means something, and it means nothing.
All right.
It means nothing, and it's only a money grab. That's only what it's there for. And yes, if I was sitting in that chair as Dan Garber, let's do an All-Star game. Let's bring in another $30 or $40 million this year. How do we do that, right? I mean, I don't think it brings in 30 or 40 million. I mean, we were just talking about I was just watching something about MLS viewership. Okay, the average MLS viewership right now is 120,000 a game. Okay, 120,000 a game. That's nuts to me.
Yeah.
That is nuts to me. Now, they're saying when it was on ESPN and FS1 and 2, primarily, it was averaging over 340,000 views a game. That, to me, is still nuts. That still seems low to me. But now it's like a third of what it used to be because it's on Apple TV. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is unbelievably crazy. And so 120,000 people are watching an MLS game on average. This Apple TV deal is going to shape up probably be one of the worst deals ever for viewership. Probably the worst deals ever. It hasn't anywhere come close to creating the money that they thought it was going to create. It's a terrible deal. And so I don't know how much money is being made in All-Star Land, but it can't be much. And for you to do this to your favorite, your golden child, along with Alba, it's just dumb. It's dumb. And there's nothing you can say that's going to change my mind. And I get that the American culture is all about all-star games and great. Well, yeah, but this is not football was. I mean, football, not football, but American football was founded here. Baseball, I think, was founded here. Mm-hmm. Basketball, I think, was founded here. What hockey? Hockey was not founded here. I think hockey was founded someplace else. I don't know where, but again, I'd have to Google that. Canada. There we go. Close. North America. Okay, so you could argue that we stole it. So, but soccer was not created here.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't created here. And if you wanna go on a world tour, with our team, we're gonna get smacked doing it. It's what they call it's international soccer. And keeping in mind that we have the international environment, right? Which again, most of these sports, like football, doesn't have that. Football doesn't have an international tour other than us taking our game and playing our teams over there, right? I mean, no, USA travels to Jamaica. They play Jamaica. I mean, we go on these international games. Hockey, yes, USA does it. But again, those players are made up. I mean, to be fair, the vast majority of the players in the NHL are the same players that be in those international environments, right? Same ones, okay? In the United States, our men's national team is made up of domestic players who happen to, a bunch of them play overseas, right? Play overseas. But a vast majority of the players that play overseas play for their countries that are way better than us.
Yeah.
Again, it's not even close. So we need to shut down this All-Star game. It makes no sense. No sense.
If anything, I think it just highlighted a trend that's really concerning to you and I and to anybody who really follows the MLS and wants to really invest in the MLS. When your one superstar decides he doesn't want to be a part of something, it all comes crumbling down. I mean, you look at some of the best players from the United States who are going to be on that U.S. men's national team, hopefully coming up in September, and obviously as we get into the World Cup, a lot of those guys played in the MLS Next Pro programs. They played at those levels. They played for those teams. And then when it got to playing at the highest level, they got that contract from overseas and they decided to go play overseas. And again, rightfully so. We've mentioned why young players want to play in those environments. It's because of the environment. It's because of the culture around the sport. It is all those things. But for Major League Soccer, what this highlights to me is a much larger issue than just Messi needing a break. Messi needing a break is, okay, he deserves it because of where he's at and how much he's done. But when you take Messi out of the equation, you have a group of fans who are walking through the gates at this all-star game who are like, who exactly is it that I'm excited to see now? Who exactly is it that I'm beating the drum to come watch? There's nobody else on that list that really brings people out. You don't have star power. And you can't just rely on Messi. My man is getting old.
Yeah, but
he's
we've
38 years old.
Nathan, we've been in this position before. We know every year the NFL lets us know who's in the Pro Bowl. If you are buying tickets thinking you're going to see your favorite athlete, who is the MVP of the league, showing up to the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl, you're good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, the best players oftentimes don't make it there. If they go to the Super Bowl, they're not going to be there at all, right? So they're not even going to be there. And so this idea that you're buying a ticket to possibly see Messi,
yeah, but he did opt out late though.
Huh?
I'm not. He did opt out late,
But again, how many times have people bought tickets in this country for an MLS game? And again, in an MLS game, you're in Nashville. My best friend who lives in Nashville bought tickets to go see Messi in Nashville. He never played. There's no guarantee. How many times have we bought tickets to go see LeBron James in person and he doesn't play?
Right.
He doesn't show up.
Right.
So the idea that you're buying tickets, I get it. They're hot ticket item, whatever. They say that this game generated around $20 million for the city of Austin, Texas. That's what they're saying it generates, right? People coming in, flying in. Again, a lot of that is, players coming in with their families and they're celebrating. Great, right? It's an honor, right, to be selected for, the All-Star game. I get it. There's obviously another number of ways, you could do this. And again, I think that the All-Star game should just be canceled. And while, yes, Austin loses $20 million, but Austin's not going to get this again, anytime soon. So whether they had it for once or they didn't have it at all isn't going to really make a difference. It's like,
right.
You could host 30 other things and they would generate $20 million over the course of those 30 versus the one time where people come into your town. I get it though. But the idea, first off, as a fan of sports, I don't buy a ticket for a single thing. I buy a ticket for the whole thing. I don't go watch the Lions at Ford Field because of just one player.
I would buy a ticket to watch LeBron. Are you kidding me?
I've seen LeBron James in person, and it was awesome to watch him when he was a Laker. It was awesome to watch him as a Cleveland Cavalier. It was awesome to watch those in person. But again, if I'm going to go invest money into a ticket, again, as a fan of sports, it's the entire environment.
I don't
it's
know
the
if I believe
entire
that.
environment.
If
But
you got a chance to go watch Mike once upon a time, Michael
Jordan?
you
I saw Michael Jordan
money
play
on that ticket. Yeah.
Huh? Well,
Yeah,
again,
well,
at that
yeah.
time, I was free. My dad or whoever I went, I got a ticket for free.
Right.
Again, I'm not one that does that, though. There are diehard fans that are absolutely going to do that. There are diehard fans that they will go out. I will never wear a jersey with another man's name on the back of it. It will never happen. I've never worn a jersey. I'll never buy one. If I buy one, it'll be one without a name on the back. It's just how I'm built. I just don't feel like I should be wearing somebody else's name on my back of my jersey. But I get it. I get that there are fans out there that do that. I don't know how many of them live in the soccer space, who, oh my gosh, like, I need to go watch this game with this player right now. Like, I don't know how much of that is the case. And it might be very real. It might be a significant amount of fans. But I just know that I'm not built the way in which I'm going to go and take my money and say, I'm going to spend all of it on this ticket for this player. You know what I mean? That's how I am. Now, again, if you're out there doing that, it's a tremendous risk that you're taking. And I would pick a ticket that more likely you're going to see that player in, right? You say, okay, they're in a playoff hunt, and this game's really important. Chances are that player's playing, right? The fourth scrimmage, of the preseason. Probably not the ticket, right? You know what I mean? I'm just saying that if you select, you be selective about it. It's like,
Right.
If you can be. But I don't know. I feel like anyone can still get a ticket today. I feel like tickets are not that hard to come by. They're probably easier to come by than they've ever been. They're maybe more expensive. But again, me and you are different that way. And that's okay. But for a fan to be upset that Messi didn't show up, he could have sat and he could have been literally in the stadium and never stepped on the field. I mean, is that still the same as a fan? Does that still make a difference? I mean, are you okay with that? I mean, like, if you go watch LeBron James and you see him in person and he never steps the foot on court,
Of course,
are you
it makes
okay?
a difference.
Are you okay with that as
Yeah.
a fan
Probably
versus him never
disappointed
showing
about
up at all? Huh?
it. Yeah, I'd be disappointed about it. Absolutely, I'd be disappointed about it. But yeah, I mean,
most of us buy our tickets too, Nathan, in advance, right? We're not buying them like a week ago. We're buying them. Hey, the All-Star game's coming to town. When they go on sale, we're all going to buy them. And a lot of times, you might not even know who the person is in the game when you're buying. I'd imagine those tickets were on sale, for a period of time,
right.
and you might not know who's in that game yet. You're, quote unquote, who's coming. I mean, again, you buy your ticket to go watch. If LeBron James is coming into Little Caesars Arena, they're playing the Pistons. You're looking at the season as a whole and saying, "Oh, he's coming here 3 times this season. I want to get one of those 3 tickets."
Mm-hmm.
And will he actually play? I mean, nobody knows, but you're taking that risk. I don't know. I don't know if I put a lot of stake in that aspect of it, but I understand it. I understand that. Hey, I'm buying a ticket. I want to see Messi. And that here lies the problem too, right? Because again, as someone who went to Red Wing games and Lion games as a kid, Pistons as well, and Tigers, all 4 of them here in Michigan, in Detroit, I absolutely love Cecil Fielder. I loved Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, right? I loved these players, but I love the Tigers more.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Tigers. And yeah, Miguel Cabrera and Magglio Ordonez, right? These players, Justin Verlander, right? I mean, then we saw the players who came in, right? Jones, who came in, right? He was in there for a minute, right? As a relief pitcher for us, right? Like things like that. I absolutely fall in love with a player, but I wanted to go see the Tigers play. I wanted to go see, Wayne Fontes and the Lions at the Silverdome. It was, Scott Mitchell was, our quarterback at that time, but Scott Mitchell actually led us into an NFC Championship game with Barry Sanders. I went to every game I saw Barry Sanders play. I don't think he ever missed a game. He never missed a game. So I always saw Barry Sanders play. But, I bought tickets to go see that team and the environment and watching up at the Silverdome, watching the fights off in the bleachers because they always had fights up in the bleachers over at the Silverdome. My gosh, man, there were fights all the time. It's full-on brawls. And we were just sitting there. A lot of times I was sitting there just waiting for it. I'm like, Dad, is it going to happen yet? Is it going to happen? So don't worry, John, it's going to happen. Usually around the 3rd quarter is when shit started to hit the fan up in the bleachers. It was the 3rd quarter. And right around the 4th quarter, because last call, right? The 4th quarter, last call. It's like everyone started to rush to get their last call, and then fights would break out again. It was great. It's like The bleacher seats at the Silverdome, man, were nuts.
The bleacher creatures.
But I mean, I struggle with this mindset, and it comes from the All-Star mentality, Yeah, I get it. People want to see the best players. I get it. And there's not a lot of best players in the MLS. I mean, unless you are a fan of LA Galaxy, you aren't going to know who most of the players are on that team.
Yeah.
And that's the identity problem that we've talked about within the MLS itself, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this, the identity problem, that no one knows who the best players are in the MLS, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna okay, so I'm gonna name off the entire All-Star roster, okay? And I think we should do this, right? And this way we can actually start to ask this question. And I would encourage those at home, to tell me if they know who these players are. All right, so we're going to start here with goalkeepers. Okay, Dane Sinclair from Minnesota United, Brad Stuver from Austin FC. This is a coach's selection, by the way. Fans voted in Dane, by the way. Yohai Takota from Vancouver Whitecaps, another coach's selection. They had 9 defenders. Here they are. Max Arnsfin from Columbus Crew. Guilherme Bino. Boy, I need to put this computer closer. I can't even see half these names. Guilherme Biro, Austin FC. Tristan Blackman, Vancouver Whitecaps. Michael Boxall, Minnesota United. Alex Freeman, Jacob Glesnes, Philadelphia Union. Andy Najar, Nashville. Miles Robinson, FC Cincinnati. Kai Wagner from the Philadelphia Union. All right. So far, do you know any of these names?
Miles Robinson. I know Max Arfson, and I know who was the last one you just said?
Philip. Oh, sorry, no. Kai Wagner.
I know who Kai Wagner is. Yeah. So I got 3 of them.
Okay.
3 of them.
Sebastian Berhalter, we all know. Christian Espinosa from San Jose. This person is clearly, I don't know who Evander is. It's just Evander. So that in itself, FC Cincinnati, just for one name, Evander.
Okay.
Carlos Gill from New England Revolution. Diego Luna, we know who that is. Real Salt Lake. Hani Mukhtar from Nashville SC. Jeppe Virskov from, now there's a T there, so I think it's a silent T, but Virskov from San Diego. Obed Vargas from Seattle Sounders, and then Philip Zinkernagel from Chicago Fire FC. Obviously, you know Luna, you know Sebastian. Do you know anybody else in there?
I think I got 5 total out of the entire list. I think I got 5. I'm going to go with probably 5 of them. Yeah.
Okay. There's 8 more. Here we go.
All right.
Ty Barabo from Philadelphia Union. Okay. Dennis Buenga from LAFC. Anders Dreyer. Chucky Lozano. Marco. Now, this is not Pulisic, but it's like Palasic. It's P-A-S. Palasic, I believe. Orlando City. Diego Rossi. Sam Surridge. And Brian White. Those are the All-Stars from this past year.
I know Sam Surridge and Brian White. You know what? So that's probably 7 of them. But again, no of them. It's not like I'm, a huge mega super fan of any of them.
Okay, so the next question becomes, okay, of all those All-Star players we just mentioned, and I didn't even mention Messi in there because Messi was on the roster, but he wasn't rostered. Take Messi out for a second. Who on that roster is the superstar that you rally around if you're an MLS fan?
I don't know.
I mean, Luna probably
I don't know.
Luna is probably the one that you would imagine would be the most.
As an American, yeah. You probably put it with him. Yeah.
So identity wise, who the hell are all these players?
Yeah.
Now, if I went and did NBA All-Star roster 2025, okay, I mean, let's be honest. Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Jason Tatum. All right. Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Tyler Herro, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Jaren Jackson, Jalen Williams. I would be hard pressed for a single person who I just named off who would not know who those players are. You might not know maybe 3 of them.
Yep.
Okay. Might not know 3 of them.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I tremendous identity problem.
I would be fascinated to see what happens when Messi gets removed from the product. Not that he would be removed, but when he leaves or if he leaves. Whether that be retirement, whether that be him just stepping away, whether that him, be inking a deal with a new league or a different league. Like what exactly is it that happens to Major League Soccer when Messi isn't there anymore? Like that's what I'm fascinated to know now, because especially with all these conversations that you and I are having, where do they go from here? I don't like. It's great to have him. It's great to have arguably, and I don't even know if it's arguably anymore, but the greatest to ever touch a soccer ball be in your league. It's everything. But this is exactly what we're talking about. Like the fall, the drop off is steep. It's a cliff in a lot of ways. And so the concept of an all-star game is fun, but I don't know. You need recognizable stars to make it worth it.
And this is where I would argue that the NWSL is even a better overall league for player identity than the MLS. Because women's game, like Rose Lavelle, we all know who that is. Right? We all know who Rose Lavelle is. We all know who Marta is. Now, Marta, obviously not from the United States, she's from Brazil, but nonetheless, we know who she is. Mm-hmm. Mallory Swanson. Used to be Mallory Pugh. You know who Mallory Swanson is? Mm-hmm. If you don't know her, then you didn't watch any of the NWSL, any of the games ever. It's like, you know who these players are. I could go down and down the list of top players who've played in this league. You've got, I'm just looking at the list of all these. Sam Coffey. Okay, phenomenal player. Christina Sinclair, right now, again, not U.S. player, but she's from Canada, right? I'm just going through here. Kelly O'Hara, right? We all know who Cindy LaRue. Now, obviously, Rapinoe, right? Now, she's not with them anymore. But, you could go down, and Alex Morgan used to play for this league, right? You could go down and down the roster of players who play in that league, and I would be hard-pressed if you are a soccer fan. I'm not talking about a fan of other sports. Okay? If you're an NFL player and you don't care for soccer, you're not going to know. You might know who Messi is, but you're not going to necessarily know who some of the other players are. But if you are a soccer fan in this country, you would probably be able to recognize more female players playing in this country than MLS players playing in this country.
Yeah.
And why? Because let's be honest. What does the WNBA have to do more than the NBA? They have got to find a way to promote their players and their league way more than the NBA. Why? Because it's considered to be an inferior product. You have to work harder to get it going, right? The NWSL. First off, I think the NWSL is not an inferior product, but because of how we've prioritized women's sports in this country, they have to work harder to get players recognized. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you see way more of it. I don't get a single MLS thing in my feed at all, by the way. Mm. I get other feeds. I get NWSL stuff, and believe me, we follow the MLS. I get nothing in my feed for the MLS on TikTok or anything. Mm-hmm. I'd be curious how many people get their MLS stuff in their feeds as well. Do you get MLS shorts in your feed?
From time to time, not consistently, though. I certainly can't say consistently, which is a problem to me. I wish I had more. Like I said, it's not a good feeling that I only know a handful of those players, but it just, again, it goes to show you exactly what you're talking about. You have to do a better job at marketing.
And in today's world, it's so easy. How is this even a thing that we're even conversating about this right now? I find it to be absurd that I'm even talking about this.
Right.
It is absurd to me that we're even having this conversation. And so this all stemmed from us having a conversation about why Messi was even suspended in the first place. My thing is, fine, whatever, you suspend him, who cares? The game means nothing. Let's get rid of the game.
Yeah.
But again, that's not going to happen because that's not how the leagues in this country work. They're going to do things their way. I would argue that they should eliminate this whole thing. And obviously, make it where if Messi's not going to play, Messi's involved. Mm-hmm. Make it an environment where, okay, if he's not going to play in the game, he's at the game and he's just going to sit there and rest. He's not going to be participating. Make him a fan environment where he can go do interviews or do whatever the case might be. But make it an environment where he could have access. Parents, players, fans could all have access to him in a way in which would allow them the chance to be able to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. Then do that. Again, argue that this should be done at the end of the season, not during the middle of the season, because again, you're talking about playing upwards of 50 games during the course of a season. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body. You're playing 2 games a week, and in some cases, you're playing 3 if you're playing in other environments. Playing 22 games or something like that in a month. I mean, my gosh, that's a lot of games. The guy's almost 100 years old in soccer years. Mm-hmm. It's just insane to me. Yeah. But I mean, I don't. It's a mess. As I said to start this show, it's a mess, and the MLS has to find a way to clean it up. And the way they can do that, the way they can clean this thing up is, one, eliminate the All-Star game or move the All-Star game to the end of the season. That solves this problem and doesn't force you to have players who are in the middle of a season having to make a decision about taking care of their bodies and having a break versus being suspended for a game. An actual game that's meaningful, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I struggle with that. I struggle with that entirely. But we'll have to consider this conversation on another day, because that is the end of Inside the Game here on this Tuesday morning. We'll be back at this tomorrow morning. Ryan Glinsky will join me tomorrow morning. Nathan will be on assignment, so we'll have him tomorrow morning here on the show. You'll be back at it on Thursday. A lot more soccer talk. We got to talk about the USL final coming up this weekend. We'll try and get some special guests for that later in the week. But nonetheless, don't forget to subscribe, like us, share this with your friends and family. Back at us again tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here on Inside the Game. All right, boss.